Imagine waking up one morning and everything you ever wanted was right in front of you. Not just the vague ideas of success, but the tangible realities. Maybe it's the corner office with the panoramic view, laughter echoing from a loving family, bank accounts that allow you to breathe. The success, the happiness, the opportunities, it's all there, shimmering like a mirage in the desert sun. But here's the cruel, almost mocking catch. You can't touch it. It's as if there's an invisible wall that's shimmering, a barrier between you and the life that you desire. It's not a solid, tangible wall that you can climb. It's not a wall that you can break down. It's like a force field that distorts reality, making your dreams feel close yet out of reach. And you start to think that no matter how hard you reach, no matter how desperately you stretch, it remains out of grasp. A constant reminder of what could be, but what isn't. Most of us can feel that frustration, and we live our lives with the persistent, unbearable ache of yearning for something better. But what if I told you that the invisible wall isn't the world holding you back? It's you. More specifically, it's your thoughts, the silent narrators that are whispering doubt into your ears while painting a reality of limitation and impossibility. There's a man named Tim Grover, not a household name in the mainstream, but a legend in the world of elite athletics. He's the coach behind some of the world's greatest athletes. And I'm not just talking about the ones that win, I'm talking about the ones that dominate. He once trained an NBA player, a young man with the talent that scouts drool over. I'm talking the kind that is guaranteed to have a Hall of Fame career, but he couldn't seem to win the crucial games, the ones that truly mattered. The player, plagued by self-doubt, second-guessed himself at every single turn, and he would let one mistake to cause him to spiral out. Tim Grover, with his gruff, no-nonsense approach, looked at the athlete in the eye and said, "Your body will never go where your mind refuses to lead." Come on, Tim. Think about that statement for a second. Your body will never go where your mind refuses to lead. Your body, your actions, your success, and your ability to show up will never surpass your mindset. It's like you're trying to drive a high-performance sports car with the brake on. Where you think you're going? Your success, and when I talk about success, we're talking about in any area, whether it be your career, your relationships, your personal growth journey. It is dictated by the silent, often unconscious conversations that are happening in your head. It's dictated by the stories that you tell yourself about who you are and what you are truly capable of. Your brain is a predictive machine. It's a master storyteller, and it constantly weaves through narratives just to make sense of the world around you. Every day it filters reality, not objectively, by the way. It filters it based on what you believe is true and on the patterns that you've ingrained through repetition. If you think you're not capable, if you think you're unworthy, your brain, like a loyal servant, will diligently find proof to support that belief. However, if the story you tell yourself is that you're destined for great things and you believe in your potential, your brain will then search for opportunities, for solutions, and for pathways to success. This isn't wishful thinking or some new age philosophy. It's neuroscience, the hard wiring of your brain. A study from the National Science Foundation found that the average person has a staggering 60,000 thoughts per day. That's a mental whirlwind, a constant stream of information that is being processed. But here's the kicker. The study showed 80% of those thoughts are negative. That means for most people, their minds, their most powerful tool, is working against them, sabotaging their efforts without them even realizing it. It's driving the sports car with the brake on. So the real crucial question for us to ask is, how do we rewire our brains? How do we reprogram our internal narrative to to work for us and not against us. And I would submit this thought to you that most people do not struggle because they lack potential or because they're inherently flawed. They struggle because they fall into one of these common traps. The first one is the "I'll believe it when I see it" trap. This is the trap of disbelief. It's the trap that lacks faith. It's the trap that waits for external validation, for tangible proof, before allowing yourself to believe in your own potential. People wait for the promotion before they believe that they're capable of leadership. You wait for the perfect relationship before you believe that you're worthy of love. You wait for financial success before you believe that you can truly build a business. But the fundamental truth is you have to believe first. Success is not just a result of external effort. It is a result of mindset and internal conviction. And I would even go as far as to say that it is your mindset and your internal conviction that produces the external effort. Think about it. The world's most successful people, the entrepreneurs who built empires, the artists who created masterpieces, athletes who shattered records, they all saw the vision, felt the possibility before anyone else did. They weren't waiting for validation from the crowd. Their belief in themselves caused the action, and the action attracted the crowd. Another common trap that we fall into is the "I just need more motivation" lie. Motivation is fleeting. It's an emotional roller coaster, a temporary surge of energy. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for a gust of wind to push your sailboat. You'll move a little when the conditions are right, but when the wind dies down, you're stuck. The real key and ultimately sustainable strategy is reconditioning, training your mind to show up regardless of how you feel and to act in alignment with your goals even when motivation is absent. Winners don't rely on motivation. They rely on mental discipline and the unwavering commitment to their vision. Another common trap that many fall into is the "this is just who I am" excuse. This trap locks you into a self-imposed prison of limitation. And the problem is that you begin to associate this with your identity. And whenever you attach fear, doubt, or weakness to your identity, you trap yourself in a cycle of negative self-fulfilling prophecy. And I want you to listen to me. You are not your mistakes. You are not your self-doubt. And you're not even the labels that others have placed on you. You are whatever you choose to believe and whatever you decide to become. The good news about the brain is it's neuroplastic. And don't get lost in the terminology. All that means is that we can reshape it. We can reshape it. We can rewire it. We can transform it. So at some point, we have to stop telling ourselves the negative story about ourselves. Because when we tell the negative story, we reinforce the negative story and we strengthen our brain towards limitation. But if you change the story, if you rewrite the narrative, you change your reality and you unlock your potential. If you want to break free from the 3 traps, you must train your mind like an athlete does his body, with discipline, consistency, and a strategic focus. How do we do it? First up, reverse the inner critic. I'm going to call this the opposite proof exercise. Every time your brain whispers a limiting belief, a doubt, a fear, immediately counter it with 3 life examples, 3 pieces of undeniable evidence that prove otherwise. Because your brain listens to repetition. If you tell it enough times with consistency and conviction, "I am resourceful. I figure things out. I've succeeded before and I'm going to succeed now. I'm capable of learning and growing." The brain will start believing it, and the very belief will transform your actions. Number 2, use future self priming. Stop journaling about your current self, your current limitations. And while it feels good to get some of that on paper sometimes, I would challenge you to write from the perspective of your future self, the one who has already achieved the goals, the one who embodies your aspirations. How do they think? How do they handle challenges? I feel faith stirring up. What decisions do they make? What habits do they cultivate? This creates an identity shift, a powerful internal transformation, and programs your brain to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Next, audit your mental diet. Many are meticulous about what they eat, carefully selecting the nutrients that fuel their bodies. And it's funny because they are meticulous about what they eat, but they are not thoughtful about what they feed themselves. Oh. And what I mean is they neglect their mental diet. They neglect the constant stream of information and the constant stream of influences that shape their mind. Start tracking the words you consume, the people you listen to, the media you watch, the thoughts you repeat. Your input, the information you feed your mind, determines your output, the reality you create. There's a woman named Tracy who had been overlooked and underestimated her entire life. She was always dismissed as ordinary. But Tracy had ambition, and she had dreams of starting her own business and creating something meaningful, but she had an issue with the story that she would tell herself. You see, Tracy would say things like, people like me don't succeed. You'd catch her saying things like, we don't have the connections, the resources, or enough talent to pull off the dream. You would catch her saying, I wish that I could make that happen. And one day she wrote the phrase, I wish that I could make that happen down, and stared at it. And as she stared at it, a flicker of defiance ignited in her. She thought, what if that's the biggest lie I've ever told myself? What if I've been living a lie? A story of limitations that I've allowed to define me. And it was that day that Tracy changed her language. Instead of, I'm not good at this, Tracy would say with determination, I'm learning and I'm growing. Every day and in every way, I'm getting better and better. Instead of telling herself, I don't have what it takes, Tracy would say, what if I do? What if I have more potential than I could have ever imagined? Within 2 years, Tracy had built a 6-figure business, not by some stroke of luck, but through sheer determination and an unwavering belief in her own ability. And the funny thing is Tracy started winning not because she became smarter, not because she suddenly was more talented, but because she rewired her thoughts and she changed the story that she was telling herself. And when she changed the narrative, she broke through the invisible wall. It was just a mirage in the first place. And that's the power of shifting your mindset. And here's my challenge for you. For the next 7 days, track your thoughts. Every time you catch yourself thinking something negative, pause, take a deep breath, and immediately replace it with something powerful, something that aligns with what you aspire. And remember that your thoughts are not just fleeting whispers in the wind. They are the architect of your future, the blueprints for the life you'll create. And at the end of the day, the world doesn't decide your future or your destiny. And if you learn to condition your mind, train it, nothing, absolutely nothing, will be impossible to you. You will shatter the invisible wall and step boldly into the life that you were meant to live. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you, and I'll see you on the next one.